Hello everyone, or hello no one, because I just started this. But on the recording there will be someone. So hello everyone, whether you're live or watching this on the archive. Most people watch on the archive. I've had two MLM, multi-level marketing experiences in my life, two that I signed up for, and they were very, very different from one another. And so it's worth talking about because I've just been on this topic matter lately of looking at all these different reviews of people reviewing MLMs and how different they are. So here's my take, a very macro scope take on two very different experiences that I had. And who knows, if you're looking to get into one, I might share something with you that might help you hone in on your search, because it's a big decision to make. So I'll start off with my first one, which was the worst one. And then the second one turned out to be the quote unquote golden ticket. Hello, someone just first person, first viewer, cool. And feel free to ask questions. I'll answer them as I go along if I see them. Hopefully I see them. So my first one I got into, it was for a company that is no longer around. They were liquidated by the IRS for deceptive marketing practices. In the liquidation, I actually got some of my money back, compliments of the IRS. It's like the only cool thing I've ever heard about from the IRS. It's kind of a neat story in and of itself. But anyway, so I was about 22 years old. I was looking for a job. I was between things, and I responded to this newspaper clipping. This would have been back in the year, I believe, 2000. So it was quite a few years ago. So the year 2000, before really the internet is where it's at today. So I was responding to newspaper ads, not stuff online. But I responded to one that said, wanted help managing a gym or something like that. So I show up at this building with my resume in hand, and there's other people there dressed up with really nice clothes with resumes in hand. And we get to this office space, and there's loud music playing, and there's all this excitement in the air, albeit looking back, I think it was a fake excitement, to be honest with you. And so the people that were there were like, oh, that's cute. Everyone brought resumes, and like, it's kind of weird. And everyone there was like, this is kind of weird. But anyway, they put us all into this room where we were seated, and there was a big whiteboard in the front of the room, and they would eventually get around to putting on this presentation. And the whole presentation, I don't remember how long it was, but the whole thing went something like this. Hi everybody, I'm so excited. I'm going to draw circles and dollar signs and things that look like this, and I'm going to scream the entire time because I'm so excited and I don't really know why except circles and dollar signs. That, that's not far off from how the presentation actually was. And she spoke very fast, and it was this very attractive lady with long blonde hair, boobs, and I'm sure that was all on purpose. And at that point in time, I was 22 years old. It was the year 2000. I'd never seen anything like that before. I haven't had a lot of real world adult experiences yet. And what they were presenting had no congruence with the newspaper ad that I was responding to. I think I remember asking, is this the place where you're looking for people to help manage a gym? And yep, you found it. This is us. Okay, cool. But the presentation and what they were offering and what they were asking of us had nothing to do with that. Looking back, obviously that was a big red flag, and the presentation itself a big red flag. And the fact that they didn't want our resumes for what the newspaper clipping was for, all kinds of big red flags. But I hadn't had these experiences yet, so there was a lot of naivete on my part, and even the people that were there, because all of us were like, this is weird. Why all the excitement and everyone's yelling and so excited and drawing circles and dollar signs? But I remember more than a few of us did sign up, me being one of them. So I didn't recognize any red flags. I got in, I signed up, and it was, a free thing to go to. But then once I signed up, that's when, the money thing happened. Okay, so now that you're in, you got to go to this next presentation. This one's only $7. I'm like, okay, that's weird, but all right, because I want to do this and start making some money. So I go to the next presentation, $7. And I remember the presentation was kind of like the first one. It was exciting and all of this, and circles and dollar signs. And then at the end of that one, I'm thinking, okay, well, good. Now, when do we get to the, we make money part? at the end of it, it was a pitch for the next thing, which was a $10 thing you got to go to. Okay, $7, $10. Oh, I guess why not? I've already spent 7. What's another $10? Because this is going to be the real thing, right? So I go to the next presentation, and $10. It was kind of the same presentation all over again, but maybe in different variations. Hi, Carol. Nice to see you. And so at the end of this one, I'm like, okay, now we're going to get to the stuff where they start showing us how to make money. And then it was the same exact thing. They kept monetizing up. All right, the next one, now you get to go to this big regional company event or whatever. It's only a couple $100 to go. I'm like, what? But me being 22, naive, I haven't had many adult real world experiences yet. I'm like, all right, I've already gone to like 3 or 4 of these things. First one was free. The next one, $7. The next one, $10. But okay, 200. This has to be the real deal because I don't have a lot of money. So this has got to be it. So then I went to this like weekend event somewhere in the Chicago area. And then you think you're going to get like all this training on the product so you can go out there and sell it and make money, which still had nothing to do with the job clipping I responded to, by the way. But back then I didn't see that as a red flag. So then the whole presentation was just about positivity. You know, nothing back, just empty, we'll call it toxic positivity. So that was another huge red flag, but I didn't see it as such back then. But this is where I drew the line. At the end of this one, now you got to go to the next thing, continue to be monetized up. Hello, Perry. Wow, I haven't seen you in a while. Very nice to see you here. So anyway, the next thing that they were going to monetize up free, then $7 and $10 and a couple $100. The next one was like the big national event, which was way out in Reno. So that would have been traveling, hotel, and this event was like a couple $1,000 and you got to buy this business package, business in a, yeah, they call it a bib. BIB, business in a box. So that was like $2,000, and then tickets to this thing, thousands. Like at the end of the day, this thing would have been several $1,000s. So that was like the next step up. And it's like, this one, you're really going to get the goods. I'm like, okay, I fell for that line like 3 or 4 times already. And now this one is asking for some serious money, which I didn't have. You haven't shown me anything yet. So I just decided that's where I draw the line. I didn't quit the company at that time. Not yet anyway. I figured, okay, once I start making some money, then I'll go to the bigger event that I haven't gone to yet. Well, I never got around to making any money. The only customer I had was my mom. She wanted to buy the laundry detergent. And then I figured, okay, if this is any good, I can talk about this. She'll reorder. But my mom didn't reorder. And I didn't, ask her to reorder or anything like that. I figured if it was any good, she would reorder. But she did not because it wasn't very good. And then I'm like, all right, this product is crap. The trainings are crap. I just been had for a couple $100 or so. I think it's time I get out of this piece of garbage. So I did. That's where I drew the line. I got out. It's like 2 or 3 months into it or something. And then I don't remember how much more after that it was, but I got a letter from the IRS stating that this company, the one that I was in, was shut down and liquidated for deceptive marketing practices. Yeah. That's putting it lightly. They flat out lied, at least in that newspaper clipping that I responded to. None of it was honest or real. The product was crap. And I think they made all their money just from signing people up. I don't really know, but it was complete garbage. I was only 22, very naive at the time. Hello, Stephanie. Nice to see you. I needed that experience, so I don't regret any of it because that was like among my first real world adult lessons that I just had to have. And at the time, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably not going to do another one of these. At the time, I didn't know what it was called. It was other than a pyramid scheme, which I've learned is not really true, that they're not pyramid schemes, but I've heard them called that since then. What it was a multi-level marketing. I didn't know, I'd never heard of that before, and I didn't even hear about that until sometime after that experience. But I remember when I heard it, I thought back to, oh, that's what that was, multi-level marketing. Wow. Well, it certainly has a lot of promise, but maybe that one was just a bad company. Hello, Stephanie. Hello, Mickey. Nice to see you, buddy. You have a great Thanksgiving as well. So I kept an open mind that maybe there was a great one out there because all the too good to be true stuff, it's like not all of them can be too good to be true. That was just a bad experience. So maybe there's another one out there that I might like. Who knows? But and sure enough, some years later, how many years later? I guess that would have been about 8 years later. I was 22. The next one, I was 30 years old. So yeah, simple math. 30 from minus 22 is 8 years. So I started dating somebody, a girl. It's true. And she was in a company, an MLM. And I remember when we first started seeing each other, she told me about it. I'm like, oh, cool. Well, I hope you do really well with it. And then at some point, she invited me to do it with her. And I thought, oh, great. This is the thing that's going to end our relationship because she's in an MLM and she just invited me to join hers and I'm about to tell her no. Well, she didn't end the relationship and it was totally cool. It was fine. So I'm like, okay, good. She was really cute and I was really getting into her. So that made me a little nervous. But then eventually she invited me to a company event of said company. So I went. Now, going to this event, I fully expected that once I got there, it was going to be like the other one and some other ones that I have seen but not joined. But like all of the other ones I've seen before that point, up to that point, I figured they were going to be weird. They were going to draw circles and act excited for no reason and dollar signs and just all the other red flags that I knew what to look for this time. I was older, wiser, more experienced, obviously. But when I got there, none of that happened. They were human beings. I couldn't believe it, man. The presentation was very attractive. The people there were attractive. I don't mean so much physically, but just the conversations were really cool. And after the presentation was over, even still, as cool as things were going, I expected somebody would at least ask me to sign up. And maybe if I say no, maybe at that point, that's when they would get weird or try to gaslight me. But nope, none of that happened. Nobody even asked me to sign up. Just didn't happen. Not at all. The conversations continued to be cool. Everything was cool. And I remember my Aunt Claudia was there with me, as well as my mom and a couple other people, and my girlfriend, of course, at the time. Thanks, guys. I'm reading the comments as I go along. But my Aunt Claudia, I remember, asked me, so are you going to join, Tom? Are you going to sign up? And she asked me in front of some of the other distributors who were there. And they, so I was in front of them. I was put on the spot and I was like, nah, probably not. I don't know. I might do it later at some other point. I don't know. I got to think about it more. Something like that, I said. And nobody looked at me weird. The distributors that were there talking to me, they didn't change the conversation because of it. They didn't look at me funny. And just continued to be like, wow, you know what this is not? This is not cult-like. Like the other thing, that my first experience was very cult-like. And a lot of them today are very cult-like. In fact, a lot of the reviews of MLM in general that I've gone down the rabbit hole for the first time recently was exactly that, a common theme. They're all cult-like. And there's a number of people out there that believe all of them are cult-like, like there's inherently something wrong by default with MLMs. And that just hasn't been my experience. I've been in 2 of them now. The second one I'm still in to this day, 14 years later. I'll probably be in that one for the rest of my life because it's pretty cool. But I'm in one anecdotal story. Granted, one anecdotal story. But the first one that I got into was drastically different than the second one. The first one was a cult. The second one is not. The first one had a crappy product. The second one has an awesome product. The culture, the community, everything is just completely different. So I think that's the moral of that story. I find that in life, through my experiences and through a lot of other people's experiences too, there's very few things you can objectively look at through a binary lens. Most things in life are very nuanced, and MLM, multi-level marketing, direct sales, network marketing, and whatever other names they go by, that's an especially nuanced topic matter. So I think if one's going to review it, you got to be nuanced instead of black or white. And then from there, opinions are great. That's cool. I'm happy to have disagreements with people and agreements with people. But those are my 2 experiences. And the second one, like I said, I'm still in it 14 years later, over 14 years now. I got great success with the products. It's very product driven. And financially, well, I was able to fire my boss. This was back in 2010. And the same year, I bought my house in cash. So I've never had a mortgage or rent. That's awesome when you don't have to worry about that stuff. Traveled like I'd always wanted to, lots of traveling. When I discovered my biological family, I was 35, so I was 5 years into this. And I was able to just freely go and visit them because I'm in Wisconsin, they're in Colorado. I was able to hop on a plane and don't have to ask for time off from a gatekeeper who can say yes or no. Didn't have to check my wallet or my bank account. All these things, it's just my personal primary driver is freedom. That's why I was interested in the first one. Well, first it was a newspaper clipping because I thought it was a job. But once I got there, I figured it was something much more and better than a job, or at least the promise of all this freedom. And that's what inspired me to sign up. I just didn't know about the red flags yet because I was so young and naive. But with the second MLM I got into, well, that was the real deal for me and got me that sense of freedom. Freedom. So that's it. If you want to see what I've got, let me know. I'll send you a video with info or a website with info. And if you want to do it, great. If not, no big deal. And here's my tip for you for if you're looking for one to get into. Say no to the distributor at first and see if you get gaslit or if they treat you like you're subhuman because you just said no to their deal. And if they treat you like normal, like the one that I got into where they were cool, then just go back to that person and say, hey, second thought, maybe I do want to do this. I was just testing you. See if you're going to act like all the other MLMers out there. Just be honest and forthright about it. You'll be glad you did if you try that, because if the person comes back and says, another thing you can say, let me think about it for a few days. Because a common response to that one I found is, what do you got to think about? If not now, when? That kind of weird stuff. And just see how it goes. If they turn out to try to gaslight you, you'll be very, very happy that you asked instead of just rolled the dice and signed up only to find out later it was a mistake. It makes a lot of sense, and that's your advice from your already MLMer, from an MLM person, me. That's advice I'm giving you. Just say no to your distributor, or say, let me think about it. Because I think that's the let me think about it one, I think, is the bigger pet peeve for most MLMers. That's the one that really invokes the, well, what do you got to think about? If not now, when? Your goals aren't going to get accomplished all by themselves, or I don't know, whatever else thing they say. But those are the common ones. It's kind of weird to say that crap to people, but people are who they are, right? Going to conclude this video. I might do a live feed later this evening. I am not at all sure. All right. I don't want to get carried away right now. I haven't decided. So maybe there will be, maybe there won't be. But there will be another one. If not today, then very soon. There's always another music video of me playing guitar coming soon. Usually something original and creative. And I've already got so many videos out there. But if you want to see more of my stuff, TomBerkenmeyer.com. I've got my YouTube channel linked there, my recipe blog, tons of healthy recipes, different meals, all plant-based, whole food, lots of music. I've been doing music for a long time. Lots more coming. I'll never stop until I'm dead. And a lot of philosophical style talks about money and health and wellness and fitness tips and workout videos. I got all kinds of stuff. I have a lot of interests. So dig around and pull out whatever you want to. Bye for now, everybody. Feel free to share this video. And if you have comments on your own MLM experiences, feel free to drop them. Bye for now.